So, welcome to our first ever video version of A.OK Radio. This is awesome. So, this is I.Escape here bringing you A.OK Radio, signing on for another special dose of escapism into pop culture. So, let's escape together. I swear, one of these days I'll actually get that opening actually memorized. But for now, I got the script right here and layout, so I never forget, even if I have to go back to it occasionally. But this is exciting. This is awesome. This is my first ever video episode of the podcast of AOK. So for those who may not be familiar, I have a podcast that's on Anchor FM, and that's available on platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google, and more. And they do actually have available on Anchor video podcast, which is mainly on Spotify. I don't know if any of the other platforms have it right now, but I thought, why not stream these videos and then just upload it to Anchor after that, so that way I can have it on my YouTube, on Twitch for a little bit, and just spread the fun. It's kind of cool. It's great being back on video for these type of discussions again. So I'm really happy with this. This is a very late stream though, so there's probably not going to be anyone hopping on for this. But I figure either way, it's going to be great. Whether people are watching the replay and they can comment afterwards, and we can include that into future videos, like having it on TikTok. Because I plan on having clips of this on TikTok as well. Do more frequent responses to other people who are commenting later on and stuff like that. So this is cool. I definitely want to make this a thing. Probably will not be every episode from here on out, but I definitely want to do this fairly frequent. So no planned schedule as of yet how often I'll be doing this, but expect this to be a pretty expect this to be a thing from now on, basically. So today's episode, we're talking about Cartoon Network's craziest and darkest crossover yet. So there's been a couple crossovers that we've had over the past couple years. My favorite, of course, being Fusion Fall. That was a phenomenal RPG, MMORPG, actually, a couple years back. Actually, I believe the servers are still on now, run by some fans. But man, that was a great game. It was a great game. If you missed out, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, in a nutshell, Fusion Fall was this story where this alien race was coming to our planet, coming to the Cartoon Network planet rather, and it was just consuming, assimilating all these other planets in its wake, and it finally makes its way to Earth. And guess what happens? Dexter, Samurai Jack, Megas XLR, Ben 10, every one of our favorite Cartoon Network characters, heroes and villains, banded together. They all existed on one planet to fight this entity that was taking over our planet. It was there's a lot more of it than I'm telling here, because seriously, that's a whole series in its own. But it was phenomenal, and I really wish we could have gotten expansions of that. Like I remember on the official Fusion Fall website back in the day, there was a short little comic, and it wasn't really long. There wasn't a lot to it, but I always felt like that kind of series deserved its own full-fledged series. Right beside the game, we get like a cartoon special, or like a movie special or something, alongside some comics and everything, just so we can see more of these characters interact. Because of course, with Fusion Fall, well, with Cartoon Network in general, we've had plenty of instances where these characters did interact with each other over time, and it was pretty fun. We had certain things like, I remember, what was it called? It was like this Cartoon Network city that they all lived in, that they all kind of talked about. I remember Professor Utonium one episode locked his keys in the car, and I'm trying to remember who all was trying to help him. Like Dexter was making fun of him, like, what kind of genius locks his keys in his car, and other just stuff like this. But other people were actually trying to help him. I'm trying to remember who, but it was just. And then there was one where Samurai Jack and Johnny Bravo were at the laundromat, and Jack's Jack's robe was pink because Blossom accidentally got her clothes mixed up with his. It's just fun stuff like that. So it's always been something that we've wanted to see more and more of, honestly. And we've had other crossovers like OKKO, where they had like this whole in this whole mash of the bunch of characters being captured and turned to stone. And then, small crossovers here and there, like Steven Universe and Uncle Grandpa and things like that, Ben 10 and Generator Rex. So, Cartoon Network is pretty familiar, not really too afraid to do those crossovers, especially the occasional crossover. And in recent years, way about 10 months ago roughly, and I'm surprised I didn't even know about this until like a couple weeks ago. There was this trailer that Adult Swim dropped on their YouTube channel called Learning with Pibby. It was it was just like learning with Pibby. What is this? So I got a couple things opened up. I wanted to show some pictures and whatnot for especially anyone who's watching this for the first time who doesn't know what in the world I'm talking about. But in 10 months, this video has gotten 27 million views. And it's like a 2-minute trailer. And it's on Adult Swim. So, of course, whatever it is, it's going to be crazy, right? So, Pibby is reading it from the fandom website here. Pibby is a proof of concept short aired on the official Adult Swim YouTube channel on October 30th of 2021. It follows Pibby, a character from a fictional educational show who is forced to cross a multiverse of Warner Brothers show, chased by an unknown glitchy darkness with the ability to infect and control characters it touches. Bruh, why don't we have this right now? Why is there just a trailer? Like from that part alone, like we got multiverses. It's a fighting game that spreads across the Warner Brothers universe to a degree. And of course, we got Space Jam Legacy, which a lot of people don't like. I enjoyed it. It's one of those movies where it's just, you sit back and you just zone out to it type deal. Yeah. I'm weird. I love stuff like that. So yeah, we've seen a couple Warner Brother crossovers that aren't exclusively Cartoon Network stuff, so it's pretty cool, right? This would be the perfect time because Multiverses is popular. I love that game myself, and who doesn't love a good crossover? Seriously. So, on April 1st of 2022, some Adult Swim originals had Pibby and Bun Bun glitched, the glitch version of him, inside. This was known to be the Great Invasion of Adult Swim, aka Pibby Fools. Even the bumpers had them. So the sign off was even changed for Adult Swim. It had the morphed, zoomed out sign off instead of the current dinner party sign off. And the original music for that sign off was replaced with a Pibby goodbye song. Sometime later, a billboard was even redesigned to let the darkness consume it. So if you ask me, I mean, even though it is on even though it is on April Fools, that's a pretty big thing to do, have this kind of invade all these shows. They had to reanimate certain clips, certain reruns to have this sort of thing happen. Like Rick and Morty was one of those. They reanimated a whole scene to show one of the characters, Morty, be infected by the glitch. And of course, like I was saying, they had other things going on in there. And it was just like, what? So it being on April Fools, it's a little bit like, okay, so this is just a, hey, we got you type deal. It's hard to tell. Like, there's April Fools leaves a lot of things open for just, gotcha, gags. It's April Fools, right? And that's not too far off from October. So what is that? So that's, let's say October, November, December, January, February, March. So about 6 months from that original short. And it does say that it is an official proof of concept, meaning it's something that is shown to see if it's worth to continue. So they just show it to the world, and if they like it enough, it could be possibly greenlit for a special, more than likely an actual series of some sort, whether it's a mini series or an ongoing thing, depending on the potential. And I think this could be very much a pretty big series depending on how deep they want to go with this. And I can't wait to talk more about it. So it's really dope. It's actually really dope. Um, Sorry, that was my phone, by the way. Oops. I thought I silenced it actually. There we go. Okay. So it's actually pretty dope. You follow a lot of crazy things in this TV show, or excuse me, in this trailer. So the summary, I'll just read this. This is about 3 paragraphs, and then we'll be caught up, and then we could talk about a lot of the meat and taters of this. So the short starts with the opening of a preschool cartoon show, Learning with Pibby, which is interrupted by a strange black glitchy liquid consuming the area. The titular character, Pibby, the simply designed girl with blue skin and pink hair, it's interesting too how that design is like, it's so simple and yet it fits that whole preschool aesthetic, and yet it just fits. I really like it. It's just like, it's crazy how in those 2 minutes it's just like super fun. Sorry, I had to answer this text message real quick. Um, and I'm already attached to these characters in just 2 minutes. Like, that's good character development and good just storytelling and just, well, everything. Man, I can't get my words right with that. So anyway, let's continue reading this actually. And Bun Bun is the rabbit companion. So they retreat to their house where she promises that she will always keep him safe. However, the scene cuts to the darkness consuming Bun Bun, with Pibby failing to rescue him. Just as the darkness closes in on her, she is saved as the show cuts to credits, taking her with it. Pibby then narrates that she discovered other worlds, being other shows, such as Generic Superhero World, um, pretty much just like your typical superhero parodies, kind of like Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy from SpongeBob. They do have names, I believe, officially in the show Bible, but I don't think they have the names here. Actually, they might down below further, but so we visited their world, Bedrock, which was the first major like surprise of the trailer because you see Fred Flintstone actually talking to them, animated to, legitimately like new animation. So they're talking, and oh man, I can't even. I'm so excited about this again. It's almost like I'm re-experiencing it for the first time. So Coolsville, where she encounters corrupted versions of Velma, Shaggy, and Scooby Doo. That was disturbing. That like, so the Shaggy, no, excuse me, the Fred part. That's what got me the most because you have him go up, and the opening where he's like yabba dabba doo, and he goes down the dinosaur, and it's all happy. He's jumping in his car. Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. No, we don't get that happy. Like, oh, I'm off work. See ya. Time to go home and do my thing. No. You know what's meeting him at the bottom of that dinosaur tail? The corruption, this glitchy mass of just, it's literally that. It's like the Blob, if anyone remembers that show. It's just like this glitchy mass, and he just gets consumed. He tries to escape, and then nothing. Like, I kind of want to show y'all. I feel like I should just show y'all because, I mean, I don't know, but I feel like it wouldn't be good quality. I don't know. Oh, 1 second. It'd be rude if I didn't answer this. It's not good podcast etiquette. I'm sorry. There we go. So we see them. We see Scooby Doo, Shaggy, and Velma. Interestingly enough, we don't see Daphne or Fred. So it's like, where are these guys at? Same thing with the Flintstones. Like, we only saw Fred get taken. So where's everyone else? Where's Wilma? Where's Bam Bam? Where's why am I forgetting their names? It's been forever. Freddy? No, Freddy. Barney. There we go. Everyone else I can't remember. But and then what was even crazier? Where she next encounters corrupted versions of Finn and Jake, some of the more recent cartoon characters. and what appears to be O Town from Rocco's Modern Life. So that one's a little weird because Rocco is Nickelodeon, and they even had a scene where it was showing um, SpongeBob's place, and it's just like, wow. You know, the crazy thing is, I'm so tempted to show y'all, but I feel like after this, just watch the trailer yourself because I could show y'all the video, but it's just the audio quality is not going to be good, and I feel like it just isn't good podcast etiquette. But you know, seeing Finn and Jake was really crazy because watching this trailer prompted me to finish watching Adventure Time because I didn't finish it beforehand. So after finishing that show and watching everything and then going back to this trailer, it hit different because I've watched the Flintstones growing up. I watched Scooby Doo, all most of its iterations growing up. So seeing these guys taken over and just in this being this crazy these crazy zombie like entities glitched like kind of like what's her name from Wreck It Ralph, Vanellope, Von Schweetz, kind of like how that kind of like that glitch effect, but they look like they were almost actually. I might as well just pull it up real quick here. Um, Let me see. It's crazy, but I love it, dude. It's like so I can show you all this stuff at least if it'll focus. Is it gonna focus? I don't think it's gonna focus. Dang. Oh, that sucks. I'm trying to find another example because I have a bunch of these folders or a bunch of these pictures on my phone, but it's so crazy. I love the way it looks. Um, so here's one. This one you might be able to see better. So of course that one's of Steven Universe. That one's not canon though. That one's actually in a game that I'm gonna talk about here too. So yeah. Let's see. So it's actually pretty cool. There's a whole game of it, but it's just fan made. It's nothing that's actually like legit compared to the actual show. But hopefully they can take inspiration from that. So, all right. Hopefully that'll be the last text I have to send, but we'll see. But it's fun, like just seeing all the different designs people have made of these characters. So let's go down and see the main characters that are in this trailer, and we can kind of talk about next what this means if the show is to move forward and how it could be handled from there. So we got a couple characters that are, of course, the original ones that were made for this show. So we have Pibby, Bun Bun, Allo Boy. I believe was the superhero parody, the sidekick we got to see with them. Malira, I believe, is the cat villain that we saw with them. Like the three, so the three main characters in this are those. So what is it? Malira? Yeah, something like that. So she's almost like a Disney villain. She almost looks like she's a mixture of Cruella Deville and a cat. It's actually kind of cool. And then Allo Boy is kind of like a mixture of almost like Robin and Superboy, kind of. And then this is when we get to the official characters, kind of like the picture I showed y'all before of that kind of black screen, and unfortunately the camera wasn't able to show. But it was all the characters we saw in this trailer: Fred Flintstone, Porky Pig, Amethyst, Bubbles, Dee Dee, Craig Williams, Mommy. Wait, who's Mommy? Momi? I don't know who that is. I feel like I do, but maybe I don't. I don't know. Gumball Watterson, Finn the Human, Jake the Dog, Velma Dinkley. Wait, what? Oh, Velma. I was like, wait, for some reason when I read Velma, I was thinking Wilma. I was like, wait, I didn't see Wilma in there, but yeah, Velma. Velma Dinkley. Dinkley? That's her last name? Huh. Shaggy Rogers, Scooby Doo, Hainston Miku. I don't know who that is. Buttercup, Servente. I don't know who that is. Lion, Darwin Watterson, Monica, Keith, Moki, and Bugs Bunny. Yeah, they got Bugs Bunny. So the interesting thing is how this kind of corruption works. So we did see, so they missed someone. George Jetson was actually in this trailer too at one point, and his whole body was basically corrupted. Usually, as you saw with the Steven Universe picture, they kind of don't really take your whole body typically. Um, you're kind of just like, you kind of have the corruption in pieces, and you kind of are just like that in most cases from what we saw. There are other cases, more severe cases like George Jetson, and kind of like the Scooby Doo gang. Like Velma was a bit more corrupted. Um, oh, you know what Jake the dog was too, actually. Let me see if I can find that picture. So this one's from the game, but yeah, that one's from the game, but it's not that far off from that. So it's really crazy. It is just like awesome to see the variations. So I think what this means is all these characters that we saw, without a doubt, are probably going to be the ones who we'll see in the actual series if it does get greenlit. But that would leave one thing: what's going to be? Are we going to see more of the characters that are connected to these people, or are these just the cameos we're going to see in general? That's a curious question. So, for instance, in a TikTok video I did, I talked about how Dee Dee was actually one of the ones revealed in the trailer to already be corrupted. So would that mean that we could see Dexter and Mandark trying to save her? That would be awesome. And I feel like that would be a great way to kind of divvy up the series where you have episodes that follow Pibby and the other characters, the other three, or the other two rather, as they venture out and kind of figure out how to stop the corruption, kind of gathering their forces that we saw at the end of the trailer when they did that march. And then we could have other characters that may not run into Pibby because they just haven't found each other yet, and they're just dealing with the corruption as it comes along. Because from what it looks like, I'm wondering if they're all. I'm wondering if there's a. I'm wondering if there's the corruption hitting them all at once, or if it's kind of just one entity that's just moving through. And I'm kind of wondering if it's like that. I'm sure it's probably just one area at a time that it's hitting, but it's probably following Pibby too. That's probably the other thing. Like as she's fleeing to that would be pretty wild. Imagine if her fleeing to these other worlds, she's the one that the glitch is following into these other worlds, and she's dooming them while she's fleeing, unknowingly dooming them. That would be pretty wild. And I think that'd be really cool, though. I mean, if they couldn't fit all this in a series, like if they didn't have the budget for it, if they just kind of had like a select thing, if they can only do maybe like a mini series or a season, then just having it straightforward, just focusing on Pibby running into these characters and them, that's fine. I think it'll be interesting enough because the cast that we see here, we're definitely going to see a lot of interesting people. Like you can't have Amethyst in there without some of the other gems, or Steven. You gotta, I think at least showing them doing something to help it just would be weird. Like where are they, unless they're all corrupted too? It's very interesting. It'd be sad, but I am also hoping that this corruption is not permanent. That would be, ooh, that'd be crazy. um so when it comes to the corruption, I was kind of curious about this. So I have a couple notes actually, what I wanted to go about this, because there's a lot of fun things to talk about regarding this whole thing. So it's looking pretty rough in the PB trailer as far as what they're having to do to fight it, because you've had people who have just touched the corruption and then it just pulls them in. We had a superhero who was trying to punch it, pulled right in. Fred Flintstone pulled right in, and it's scary because that means what can you do to combat yourself if it's closing in on you, unless you have like laser beams or something that can just push it back, that isn't physically connected to you, like more of an extension. Oof, it's gonna be looking pretty bad. But man, so I had a note, a whole thing talking about how could the corruption in Pibby be stopped. I just wrote a lot about this. It's pretty funny actually, how like in depth I went with this. But odds are the writers will probably have it centered around something either Pibby or Bun Bun. But who are some other houses, some other powerhouses in the Cartoon Network universe who could potentially stop the glitch? But what even is the glitch, right? So going back to real quick, I wouldn't be surprised if if they did focus that much on Pibby and Bun Bun, where they were probably, if they wanted to give this a happy ending, which please I hope they give this a happy ending. I wouldn't be surprised if Pibby or Bun Bun were the way to stop this corruption, whatever it is, some kind of thing. But because to me, it kind of feels like if Pibby is jumping to different worlds, I'm wondering if she has that power to do so. I'm really curious about that. But anyway, so my first Pibby video I did on TikTok, it was talking about how what if the glitch was remnants of shows, people of the past and places who are canceled, and similar to Wreck-It Ralph, when your game's unplugged, you cease to exist, right? Where your power, your life relies on the viewers or the players in Wreck-It Ralph's case. Well, actually, not really, because I mean, yeah, it does. Because with them, if no one's playing the game, they get unplugged because they're taking up space in the arcade, so they're gone. So yeah, there we go. Fair enough. So people, if people aren't watching your show, do they remember you? If not, would you fade? Would you not fade from memory? If you fade from existence, and so to speak. So it'd be kind of interesting if that's how it worked. Like if that's how their life, if that's what they needed to rely on. Because there's other situations in pop culture where other, usually magical creatures, relying on people to believe in them. Um, but it would be very interesting to see if they had something like that, where if these people in these fictional worlds had to rely on people watching their stuff often enough, or at least even if it's just one person watching them, they could still exist, instead of being forgotten. It's really dark, but I think it really fit the whole Pibby thing. But man, what if the glitch was the anger, the sadness, these powerful remnants of these forgotten shows and people infiltrating the worlds of the new, or I guess still around, still alive shows that have ended, but people still fondly remember to cling to to cling to whatever life they can, even if it meant taking away the lives of whom they inhabit, or more preferably, a shared space. The host is still alive, preferably, but pushed deep into the subconscious, perhaps aware of what's going on, but powerless to do anything, mostly. I think that's the best way to do this. I think you're going to lose potentially a lot of people, a lot of viewers, if you make it dark enough where once they're glitched, they're gone. You know, going completely zombie rules. I think it would be interesting for sure, but I think you would lose a lot of people because that's just super dark. Seeing, even though this is an alternate universe, even though we know that, Finn and Jake, Fred Flintstone, all these people, we know they're okay out there because a lot of these situations take place in certain areas where they're not really canon, so to speak. Because when you look at Finn and Jake, for instance, Finn's sword is a big giveaway when the glitch corrupted him. It was early on, like season 1 or 2, something like that. So I'd imagine for it, the same would be the same for most of the other characters. But at the same time, even if it is an alternate universe, it's still a gut punch seeing these characters taken, kind of zombified. So I would hope that they, realize that, oh, maybe they can be saved, or at least put somewhere where they can't infect anyone until they can hopefully, find a way to break the glitch free from them. So I've seen some fan animations online where people of strong will, or people who just show strong emotion towards the people who are infected are able to, reach them, and they're able to break the mold that way. So it's actually pretty cool how we've seen certain things like that. And I want to go to shout out to Friday Night Funkin'. For those who don't know about that show, or that game, it's kind of like Dance Dance Revolution. It's like this whole musical thing where a bunch of these characters just have kind of like rap battles, and you just hit the corresponding, buttons. It's a rhythm game. So I didn't really know much about it, but apparently, the funny thing about this, so this is how I first found out about Pibby. The it wasn't on Adult Swim or anything like that. I went to that later. But the way I found out about Pibby was on TikTok, and it was a Friday Night Funkin' video. It was one of Family Guy, and it was Rootin' Family. That was the name of the song that was being played in the game. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, I'm just seeing half the room all dark and glitchy. I'm seeing these dis- remarkably disturbing versions of Peter and Brian, and I'm thinking, holy crap, is this a creepy pasta? Did someone animate and make a game of a creepy pasta right now? What am I looking at? Like, I was watching it, like, I really don't want to watch this right now. This is very disturbing. Just seeing them look like these glitchy, grotesque monsters. It was really, really disturbing. But I kept watching. I kept watching. I'm like, what? I was just really. It was like watching a car crash. Even though it's just really. I shouldn't look at this, but I need to. I need to see, like, what is this? What is going on? I got to see it to the end. And I don't know why my eye is so itchy, but I started looking in the comments. I started looking more stuff about it on Google, and that's when I realized, oh, this is a fan made mod of a Adult Swim uh, trailer, and that's then I Googled it and I was like, oh snap, what is this? Why am I just now knowing about this 10 months later? So yeah, it was pretty nuts. It was pretty nuts. So I wanted to mention that because what they've done in a few of the Pibby mods is there are some characters who have been able to break the glitch. Some were able to do it, just shortly, just to maybe get a word out or two, and others were able to just break it completely. Um, so it's kind of interesting to see what could happen in the show. Like, it would be kind of interesting if we could have certain characters who could potentially break through the glitch, even if it's just shortly, or momentarily. I mean, or maybe we could even have characters who could completely break through. Um, it's a very interesting concept. I think it would be fun to visit that. Maybe at least one or two characters are able to break free, and let me open up my notes here again because like I said, I got some really fun things on here I want to talk about. So, but in the mod, I want to talk about that because Friday Night Funkin' it has a lot of mods. There are a lot of different mods that some are based on creepy pastas and other stuff like that, and just fan made things in general. But of course, the Pibby one was like, as soon as the Adult Swim thing started picking up, it made its way into Pibby, or excuse me, it made its way into Friday Night Funkin'. So, a couple people that were able to break it was Steven. So from Steven Universe, he was able to break it for a second, and it was like for just a moment, he was going crazy, and out of nowhere, he was like. He broke through it for a second. He was able to turn on his gym powers. When he turns pink, and he just goes, "This isn't a game," and then loses himself again. Letting the player and the game realize, like, dude, we're not. This is no. This is literally not a game. I'm suffering right now. It was pretty crazy. Um, and then of course we got Family Guy, and we all know how Family Guy is. It's pretty nuts. So so with Family Guy, you had Peter Griffin, and of course Cleveland Brown, and oh shoot, who was the other guy? It was Cleveland, Peter, and Quagmire. Now, someone made a joke about why Quagmire was resisting of the glitch, mainly because he literally said in the show that he's had every STD known to existence. Known to that doesn't sound right. But anyway, that's why he was able to resist it. It's just like, of course, Family Guy. You can't take it seriously at all. Um, One thing that was pretty cool was that Cleveland Brown was able to resist it just by repeating his name over and over and over again, and then he was able to break free completely of it. Now, it's just a fan made thing. There was kind of a story with it. Peter was literally just thrown out of it. Like, like the glitch was like, what? No, like they tried to take him, and they're just like, oh my god, no, get out of here. We don't watch you, and just flung him out of the glitch. Now it's possible he might have just fought it, and that's just how it looked. But I think it's more funny. I think it's funnier that the glitch just threw him out of there in general. So that's my thought process, though. That's my thought process, I should say. Will we see Family Guy in this? Probably not, because I'm pretty sure Cartoon Network. I don't know if Family Guy's even on Adult Swim anymore. I haven't really watched Adult Swim in the longest time. Um, but it'd be interesting. I mean, it would be cool to see these types of things happen. Like, if we broke off into the comic realm, we could have a whole bunch of things happen that don't even have to follow Pibby. I think the graphic novels are a great way to go and a great way to explain other things deeper than what the show could. You have more time. You don't have to put in as much resources like voice acting and animation. You just get a drawer, inker, someone to write the story, publisher, all that stuff, and it's good. I mean, it's still hard work, but you'll get to explore so many things. Like for instance, imagine if they couldn't get certain characters in the show, but they can get them in the comics. So we saw Bubbles, in fact, in the trailer. We might not see. We saw Buttercup actually in the fight at the end too. We didn't see Blossom though. We didn't see the Professor. So if they're not in the show, we could see that whole ordeal in the comics. So we could see whatever could not make it into the show. Just as an example, we could see these stories take off into the comics. I think that's the best way to go, regardless of what we see in the show. Expand it in the comics. Shoot, I would even love to see a game. A game would be awesome. So let's go back to my notes here. Let me see, where did I leave off at? But yeah, I think that's like the one of the coolest things to do with the glitch. I think that's like the best way they could do this. If they were to make it more than just some kind of random entity, but actually like shows and people and places of the past that were just forgotten. Oh man, come on, dude. This show would be, for without a doubt, it would win awards. It would without a doubt win awards, and it would be, I would say it'd be Hall of Fame material. It would definitely be up there with the greats. So I want to give a shout out to Finn the Pony on YouTube. He had this fairly interesting, albeit sad, theory of the direction the show could be, titled "Can Rob Stop the Glitch?" So definitely check that out on YouTube. It was very fun. He has a couple other videos too regarding this as well, but in general, he does pretty good content. So for those unfamiliar, it's a character. He talks about this character from the show Gumball, who is a multi-dimensional character and breaks the fourth wall. So of course, characters that can do that, it makes sense that they could find a way to maybe talk to the audience. Maybe they could go that far if they really wanted to, and maybe the audience could do something to stop the glitch, whether it was like turning the TVs off or switching the channel so they could, like, the characters could move to different stations or something. I don't know, but it'd be kind of interesting. I don't know exactly how he would. I mean, there were certain devices and stuff he made to kind of mess with the dimensions and stuff like that. I gotta watch the show. I haven't gotten to that point yet in the show, but I feel like when you have characters who can break the fourth wall and they're just multi-dimensional in general, they can figure out some things to, stop something of this type of entity. Because clearly, the glitch is multi-dimensional. Pibby is multi-dimensional because they're going to all these different worlds. So all these different worlds are different realms, so to speak. So now Let's talk about some more characters that I thought of that I would love to see in Pibby, and characters that could actually potentially stop the glitch, or at least find a way to combat it a bit better than other characters could. So first on the list, and I think people are gonna really like this one. So first on the list of people that I think could stand up to the glitch or at least help combat it is Mac from Foster's Home from Imaginary Friends. So maybe him, or actually some other kid in general, who someone in general who can create an imaginary friend. So someone from that world in general, they could possibly imagine someone or something who could either cure or feed off the corruption with no ill effects in some fashion, or at the very end, or excuse me, at the very least, could be immune to it. Because that's it. It all comes down to your imagination. How strong is your imagination? How strong is your willpower to think of something like that? So, and we've seen characters in the show who literally just thought of whatever they wanted, and it just came to life. So, could they legitimately think of something that could do that? I think so, but I think it'd be limited. I think they couldn't think of like a whole army. I think they would be able to maybe do just one entity that could at least help. I don't know if anyone could be powerful enough to think of one entity that could just take it on by itself. At the very least, maybe even a sacrifice. But as we saw, the glitch doesn't really get rid of anybody per se. It uses them as another number to their army. So that's a thing too. So that's a concern. Like if you think of something that can combat it, the risk is if they get taken, it's all the stronger for it. And how is it going to affect that? That's one thing I'm wondering too. Is like if you're infected by the glitch, can you are your memories usable? Like are you able to? Is the glitch able to access your memories to find other people that you know and infect them? Is it able to use your powers? Are you just a zombie? Are you just a husk in general? Just another body for it to use? Or can it have access to all that stuff? I think that'd be the best way to do it. Um, Especially when you think of all these characters, like um, I mean, Jake is a good example of that. I'm pretty sure he went stretchy in that trailer, which I mean, it's Jake. You gotta have him go stretchy. Come on. So I mean, I think that already answered my question there. That you at least these characters would be able to still use their characters under the influence of the glitch. So that's pretty scary. But yeah, I think Foster's anyone who can think of imaginary friends, or even just the imaginary friends in general, would be fun because who knows? The imaginary friends could be. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them, if not more, could be immune to it. Perhaps you never know. I think as they build the lore around this and figure out like the ins and outs of how the glitch works, I think it could be really fun. So next on the list, one of my personal favorites, Skips from Regular Show, because of course, I mean, come on. Odds are somehow, somewhere, he's seen or heard of something like this before. That's him every time. Every time something crazy goes down a Regular Show, he goes, "I've seen this before." Really? Like how? But I mean, dude's immortal. That it makes sense. You live as long as he has. You're gonna see some crazy stuff, and literally every day something crazy. Every episode, rather, something happens in a Regular Show. So I can't really blame him for that. So plus, this is kind of similar to the Jinx episode when that doppelganger of Rigby came out of the mirror and started infecting everyone. So I'm kind of wondering if I don't know. I feel like Skips would be reminiscent of that. Maybe bring it up. Like, yeah, I saw something like this once with. Um, it would be cool oh man, like that's the tricky thing with crossovers is picking all the characters you want to do. Because I'd imagine maybe each episode will be just one worlder or maybe two, depending on how crazy the episodes, how long they'll be. If it's Adult Swim, I mean, Adult Swim does do longer episodes. I mean, Rick and Morty is kind of standard, like the 22-minute thing now. But a lot of the other shows tend to be shorter. Um, Actually, I haven't watched Adult Swim in a while, so I don't know how the current lineup is, but I know that's been a thing for a while. Not all the shows are longer like that, but I think it'd work out whether they are shorter episodes, but I think Pibby would work best as like that 22 mark. You know, just the standard. I mean, longer. I'm not opposed, but if we at least get that standard, the standard amount, I think that'd be good. So next up on the list, actually, let me make sure I got my list here correctly. Okay, here we go. So I did do some other TikTok videos about this, bringing up Cartoon Network Illuminati, operating kind of like the Marvel Comics Illuminati. So imagine if we had a bunch of characters gathered together to kind of put their brains together, figure out like, okay, what can we do to stop this thing? So of course we got the usual people, of course. Come on, we got to get Dexter in there. Mandark if he isn't. It honestly, let's be honest. Let's be honest here. Dee Dee's already infected. We already know she was infected by the glitch in this show, and Mandark, he's head over heels over Dee Dee. I feel like he's going to be super reckless to take her, to save her rather. And I feel like Mandark's going to get clapped. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those Mandark fans out there. I'm a fan of Mandark too, but I think Dexter is the more capable person. I feel like he's just better than Mandark at everything. You know, Mandark has had his moments, but Dexter always wins for the most part. He has a higher win streak than Mandark does. I mean, do we really need to talk about the movie when we had the past and future versions of Dexter going up against the past and present future versions of Mandark, and who got clapped in the end? Mandark. So, hey. But I feel like him being in there, the sisters from Johnny Test, Rick Sanchez, duh, the professor, Mojo Jojo. Of course, we all know, honestly, it's Rick. He would either figure this out himself or he would just probably jump to another universe. But I think it'd be cool if they at least threw him in there for a little bit. Um, but I don't know, it'd be kind of crazy. So there was I actually I found the artist who worked on the art for that trailer for the Piggy trailer, and originally in that lineup of the characters who were infected, Rick was in the concept art for that, and that's scary because at the moment Rick is like the smartest character that Cartoon Network has, in my opinion. Um, just based on his feats. Now, granted, a lot of other characters have some pretty awesome feats too, like of course Dexter, for instance. But dude, so I think seeing a Cartoon Network Illuminati would be really dope. I don't know what they would call themselves though. I just use the term Illuminati because you know Marvel has their version of that, and I think that would make a lot of sense, especially when you think of characters like Rick who were multidimensional and would seek out, like knowing Rick, he'd probably just seek out other versions of himself. But at the same time, I feel like he's done asking for help. For actually, has he ever even done that? Usually, it's the other Ricks asking him for help. All right, so maybe let's have it where one of the other characters goes to find Rick, maybe, or maybe they just find him or something. I don't know. So there's that. Next on the list is Ben 10. Come on. Of course. Of course, we got to have Ben 10 on there. So definitely another Illuminati worthy character. Most of these are honestly. But my money is on Alien X, most of all, out of all his aliens. I think Alien X has the potential just to do what is needed. I think he would probably just be able to destroy the glitch. The only problem is, would that fix everyone else who's infected? Do they have to be cured a different way of the glitch, or does the glitch need to be just destroyed for the effects to wear off? It's very interesting to see what they could do. But the issue with Alien X, we all know this, is Ben doesn't he's not the one who runs the show with that character. There's three entities who control the body of Alien X. So they all have to come together, and would they have the time to do that? That's the thing. Another one is kind of interesting. I would love to see because I mean we got Fred Flintstone in there. We got George Jensen. We got some pretty cool retro cartoons in that lineup. I think another one that would be perfect that I feel like doesn't get enough love. Time Squad, bro. This clearly could be an issue they could fix. I think, anyone remember that show? By the way, I mean, it was a robot, a big buff guy, and a kid, and they just went through time just fixing things. Like, say George Washington um, never got his never got the axe to chop down that cherry tree, and because of that, time change, or maybe he decided he didn't want to be president for some reason. Time Squad would go back in time and convince him, dude, you got to be president, and they would find a way to blend in so no one realizes they're from the future and stuff like that. It was pretty funny. I remember that show being very fun. Um, but it was a banger. It was old school for sure. Um, it'd be cool just to see them. I don't know what. I mean, I feel like if you have the power to travel through time, you have some pretty good tech, and maybe they could find something to help at least contain the people who are infected, maybe, or something like that, something of the matter. And I kind of would love to see just how their organization works, because I don't think in the show we even saw like how the time organization works. Like, I remember, I think they were just given jobs like, hey, this is happening in the time stream, do it. They were like the TVA, basically. So I got some honorable mentions here next up. These are people that didn't quite make the list of this original thought process, but I did go through a Cartoon Network list because, of course, there's so much in the history books rather. There was just, dude, it was hard to keep up. It was just hard to remember most of these because, like I said, there's so many of them. But Juniper Lee, because supernatural stuff. The Secret Saturdays, cryptozoic stuff. I mean, come on, this would be right up their alley. They will probably, I think that between the two of them, unless this was something new, I feel like they would know to some degree what could be done to fix this, or at least could figure out how to stop this or something like that. Generator Rex, I did talk about him earlier. These are all people that just deal with this kind of crazy stuff. Uncle Grandpa, like literally, without a doubt, probably the most OP character Cartoon Network has. Captain Planet, I don't remember honestly if Captain Planet is under the Warner Brothers mantle, but if not, they could do a parody. I mean, why not? Freakazoid, I want to say that's Warner Brothers. Yeah, Warner Brothers, because wait a minute. Yeah, that is Warner Brothers. That is Warner Brothers. Freakazoid would just be amazing. And Johnny Quest, that whole crew. The real Adventures of Johnny Quest version, though, the updated version. That was the cartoon I grew up on. So, of course, as you see with all these lists, with all the people on this list, those are all people who deal with the strange, cryptozoic, mysterious, supernatural type stuff. And supernatural was very broad. It just means anything otherworldly, things that we don't typically see in our day-to-day life, things that just don't seem natural, something from another dimension, which I feel like the glitch definitely, without a doubt, is. So him would be another thing. I mean, the Powerpuff Girls are already in there. It'd be great to see more of these villains kind of out there, but yeah, I mean, bruh. So I'm wondering if the show, as they go through different worlds, will it be sort of like how it was in the trailer? Get to the end of the episode, and then at maybe a gateway opens up, or maybe once the credits roll, then kind of like almost like Channel Chasers, where actually no, Channel Chasers was more like you could just leave whenever you wanted to, as long as you had the remote. Um, I'm wondering if they may make a kind of a remote device to do something like that. That'd be kind of fun. But yeah, it's there's so much fun with this topic. I think there can be a lot of fun to be had with this. So that was kind of the bulk of what I wanted to talk about with this. But I'm trying to see if there's any extra stuff, like any oh, did you know kind of stuff. But no, I'm not really seeing anything. So I guess in closure, I think this will be really, really fun because it's kind of a coming of age story too. Because when you see the characters Pibby and Bun Bun, they're in a preschool type show, and everything's happy go lucky. not a care in the world type deal. Everyone's happy. And then out of nowhere, this dark entity comes and just takes everyone but Pibby away. And she's on the road and she's on the run, running into it everywhere she turns, corrupting everyone that she runs into around. And it all comes down to her trying to survive, along with the friends she meets along the way, dodging the rest of the poor unfortunate souls that don't seem to make it for one reason or the other. And she starts to realize, I mean, there's a point in the trailer where she gets cut and she sees her own blood and she's like, what is this? What is this red liquid? You know how innocent you got to be to not know what your own blood is, bro. So it's very cool to see this type of character learning, unfortunately, the hard way, how scary the real world can be, or scary how, or potentially how scary the world can be when darkness comes, when bad things happen. And she kind of has to grow up in a sense. And I think it'd be a really nice way to show that type of message, that even though life can be scary, you can go through a lot of dark moments, as long as you have the ones you care about with you along the road, no matter what. To know that you're not alone through it. It'll be, I was gonna say it'll be okay, but it's like the trailer wasn't showing that it was gonna be okay. So I was trying to be all like super moral with that, super moral tastic. That's not even a real word, but I'm going with it. Um, some kind of message like that would be kind of fun. Nothing like every episode, every so often we just see, because we see her transition from this girl who has these buns in her hair to letting them down. She gets scars and stuff like that. So I think that is a really good transition. Like each time she transitions into these different phases, we have these messages that she's learning along the way. So yeah. Ah, gotcha. I thought my wife was like trying to get my attention, but
I do want your attention. I need you to pause that.
oh, that's what you were saying. Okay, I will be um actually, let me just end this because I can't really pause the stream or edit it per se, so I'll just end it real quick. But we'll talk more about this in the future. I think Pibby is potentially something very awesome to do, and I'll talk more about it on TikTok as well. And we'll probably do a few more episodes for sure in the future. And if more stuff about this releases, if this show gets greenlit, which I really hope it does, like if it doesn't, it would definitely be one of the biggest L's that Cartoon Network has ever taken. Like Warner Brothers is already carrying a massive L on their back right now, but if Cartoon Network could at least like somewhat take the weight off of them a little bit by greenlighting this show, I think they get a lot of respect that they've lost thanks to what Warner Brothers has been doing lately. But there you have it. This was pretty fun. I wanted to show more of the pictures and stuff on stream, but the way it was coming up on camera just wasn't good. But it's all good. Like, definitely check out the trailer if you haven't seen it. It's worth the watch. Like I said, it's only 2 minutes, but let's keep those views going. 27 million. If that isn't enough to show them it needs to be greenlit, I don't know what to tell them. But anyway, until next time, my friends, when the wind hits our sails yet again, be A-OK. Because there's more to seek, so go forth and seek it. We'll see you in the next escape.